Welcome back, everybody. My name is All Fun and Games. I stream every day on Twitch TV, and I also make fun videos here on YouTube. I want to showcase a video that I made a long time ago, which is now going to be a re-upload. Some things I learned about that video was that it was very long and drawn out, and when I first did it, I really liked that idea, but I had a lot of people tell me I really wish these videos were around 15 to 20 minutes long. What you're going to see is you're going to see a re-upload of some old videos. The reason you're going to be able to tell this is because, of course, the audio sounds a lot better now than it did a long time ago. So these were released about 2 to 3 years ago, so just bear with me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop them up into segments, not cutting them too much in the middle, but more so if a video is 30 to 40 minutes long, it's now going to be 3 15-minute videos or 2 15-minute videos or whatever it might end up being. I'm going to get rid of some of that stuff, so if things look a little wonky, you kind of know why. Okay? But thanks again for watching, and enjoy.
So first up, when I first started playing Don't Starve Together, I kind of went with the basic Wilson character. And Wilson's kind of like your general character that's going to get you through the year and kind of get you where you need to go. But as time goes on, you're going to want to pick somebody that possibly can fight a little bit more, or possibly can kind of like defend themselves a little bit better, or maybe just a character that's a little bit easier going. In this case, I suggest just playing Wilson if it's your first time. Will is another character that's kind of like a different side of that gives you kind of like a different side of against the grain. You started with a lighter. You started with the ability to be immune to fire, things like that. She went through a few changes, and now she's kind of at the way that she is right now, where she has a little baby bear that she can have with her name Bernie, and Bernie gets bigger when she goes insane and protects her from shadow creatures. I don't want to get too in depth with that, so I want to basically ignore the focus on characters, because you can go through different guides and see character guides on each one of them. So we're just going to go with the basic Wilson to start, and then in the future maybe we'll switch out to another character as time goes on. But I'm going to start out with Wilson and hope to see how far I can survive with him. But Wilson was definitely my first character. If I had to choose a character that I personally would recommend, I'm a Weber main. And the reason why I chose Weber is because he does a few different things. He's able to interact well with spiders, not get attacked. He can use them to their advantage where they can attack each other. And the best thing about Weber is that when he does this, he gives you 3 special things that you'll find out later on in the tutorial. But I don't want you guys to focus on that too much. But if you are looking for an overall character that a lot of people ranked as number 1, Wigfrid would probably be everyone's choice. Wigfrid is a fighter. You started with armor, you started with the weapon, you started with meat to start out as well too. But the only downside is that she can only eat meat. So I don't think Wigfrid is a good starting character. But people will tell you that Wigfrid is one of the high tier characters because of that reason, because she starts out and she's able to fight and do a lot of things. So if you want to jump into hard mode right away, I probably would say, go to a different character. But if you want to start out classic, always go with Wilson. You can go through the process of choosing different skins if you like as well too, but that's completely up to you. All right, so we're going to start in. Our friends should be joining in any second here. And the first thing that you're probably going to want to do as soon as you have friends in here, wait for them to join in. Hello, Kiri. Hello, Rob. All right, so the first thing that you want to do when you jump into a world is you want to look at where you are. So obviously it's a little bit harder to kind of explore the entire map. So the first thing that you want to do is go around and pick up everything along the edges. So obviously you're not going to have all of your friends follow you. You're going to all go separate ways, and that's why global positions is the best thing. As you can see, the map is discovering each where they're going. Kiri's going up, Rob's going to the right, and the map is slowly discovering everything that's over there. And you can see that as they go, berry bushes and twigs are showing up on the map. Now, if you have a global position set to off or not share map at all, that would not happen, and you would lose all of what is showing on there until you turn it back on again. Some people will tell you picking up flowers along the way is a bad idea, but I always suggest picking up flowers, and we'll find out why later on. So along the edges, pick up everything you can, whether it's carrots, whether it's twigs, whether it's grass, whether it's berries. And then when you get a chance, we're gonna follow up on where to base. But this is kind of where you want to start. Going along the edges is kind of like it kind of fills in the gap. It's almost like when you're making a puzzle and you're making the outside first and then you work on the inside after. That's exactly the same as it is with DST. You can really do whatever you want, but I think that in this case, this is kind of helped me along the way, and I think it probably would help you a lot too. So we're going to go along the edges and kind of just get as much as we can. It might take you a few days, but as long as you make sure that you get yourself some grass and some twigs, you're going to be perfectly fine. It takes, in order to make yourself a torch, which is going to get you through nighttime, it takes 2 pieces of grass and 2 twigs, I believe. Yes, it does. 2 twigs and 2 pieces of grass to get yourself a torch. And once you have that in your inventory, try to make sure that you have at least 4 pieces of grass and 4 twigs minimum. This will get you through 2 complete days, and you won't have to worry about anything else until then. After you're kind of done like collecting a complete set of like twigs, and you might have 40 or 50 in your inventory, don't worry. It's better to have more than, you know, it's better to have more than the normal amount on you at all times, just because when you're starting out, you're going to want to get more resources than not having, you know. Just don't worry about leaving some behind, you know. I know some people when they start out, they don't want to pick all the grass that might be close by. They don't want to, they don't want to just grab everything and then have nothing to collect later on. By the time you go and collect a twig, the next time you go around to see if they're there, they're going to grow back again. As I mentioned again about the Show Me mod, the beauty about it is it says it's going to grow back in 4 days. So right now it's day 1. So in 4 days from now, which is I think an average of 8 minutes per day inside the game. So and just 4 days from now, these are going to completely regrow. So that's why I'm saying it's better to just pick them up now than later on. As you go through the different biomes and stuff too, you're going to see different things. You're going to see different turfs. So looking back, you're going to see certain turfs. Like, for example, this is where you're going to find a lot of the rocks that you're going to need later on. You're going to find different things like wormholes, and we'll talk about that as time goes on too. Pretty much with this one, we're just going to kind of focus on exploring the outside of the map and kind of going from there. A few things to kind of realize as well too in DST is a lot of people struggle with trying to find food when it comes, you know, to the first few days. You're running around, you're seeing a few carrots here and there depending on what biome you're in. Always make sure you grab as much as you can. Your character is not going to get super duper hungry right away, and you can pretty much survive on a few carrots. This is another reason why the Show Me mod honestly helps a ton, because you can see that it tells you exactly what you want to know. It tells you that you're going to gain 12.5 hunger from eating just 1 carrot. It tells you you're going to gain 0 sanity and you're going to gain 1 HP. Now, a few of these pieces of food that you get as well too are better when cooked, of course. Carrots are one of those that you don't really need to worry about cooking. So if you do pick them up from the ground, just make sure that you keep them, and these are one thing that you should always eat, just raw. Berries are a different story. You can cook berries if you like, but I would definitely suggest grabbing as much of these as possible. If you're wandering around and you see things like this as well too, this is known as a boon. It's basically a dead body, like a spawned in skeleton that will have loot around it. And this could vary from having anything from, you know, some rot around it with some flowers. It could have pretty much anything, including one of the best items in the game known as a walking cane. So if you do manage to find some of these things, I would suggest picking it up. You're not going to be able to get yourself a backpack right away unless you're playing a different character in this game known as Wickerbottom. But to start out, just continue to pick as many things as you can. And then when you get close to, when you see it starting to get a little bit closer on your dial to nighttime, that's when you're going to want to make yourself the torch. Now, the torch should last you an entire night, and then it should also get you a little bit through the daytime. But obviously, you're going to take the torch. You're going to release the torch when the daytime shows up. So 1 torch should hopefully make you 2 nights if possible. We're a little low on cut grass right now, but that's okay. And remember, always pick up all the flowers that you can. Back when we first started playing a lot of Don't Starve Together, flowers were kind of one of those things where everyone was kind of saying, no, don't pick it, don't pick it, don't pick it. But then as time went on, people started realizing that they don't really matter so much, you know, right away, because they will spawn in again. So get yourself flowers, and then when we get a chance later on, because these are going to rot in 6 days. So on our next video that you see, we're going to show you why picking all of these flowers early game was a really good choice. So pick as many as you can and grab as much flint, grab as many carrots, and continue to explore with your friends on the outside of the map. And you can start to see how things are slowly filling in. It helps out to have more people join in at the start of the world, but later on, if you are playing by yourself or you decide to, it could take you, up to maybe 8 to 10 days before you uncover the entire outside of the world. So that's why I always suggest, playing with friends, because it's basically the way that Don't Starve Together was meant to be played. If you're walking near little mobs like the spiders and stuff, you don't really have to worry about them that much, because they're not going to really run after you that fast, and if you just run away from them, you're completely fine. Stay away from picking up things like this. This is another, I don't know if it's called a boon or not, but it's basically a little trap. And if you pick up this ice staff, you're going to notice that all these hounds are currently sleeping, but as soon as you pick this up, they're going to chase after you and try to kill you. So definitely avoid picking anything like that up, because you don't want to be attacked by those. These are known as fireflies, and fireflies are they're not really a late game item, but you can use them to basically capture them and turn them into a miner hat, or put them around your base to keep your base lit up without using a light source. It's basically a free way of having light in your base. They'll only give you temporary light, so if you are in trouble and your torch seems to be running out, you can run over to them really quickly, and they'll give you temporary light until you basically are standing there. They'll slowly disappear. So I'm going to probably suggest to avoid doing that unless you have a chance to find another one close by. So if you find, for example, 2 or 3 fireflies, you can rotate between one of the 3 continuously, and then you'll always have a light source until morning time. It's kind of like a savior in case you have Charlie after you. And Don't Starve Together, when you first start out, the 3 things to worry about the most is make sure that you don't end up in darkness, make sure that you have some food on you, and make sure that you have a torch. Other than that, you should be good. The one thing is, don't let yourself get past day 8 without starting to build a base. And we'll kind of talk about why that's a thing in a little while. So as you can see, certain biomes that I'm currently in right now are very low on grass. But when you look at your friends, you can see that they're passing by little grass areas consistently. Like Rob's in a twiggy biome with a bunch of bees. And then you can also see that over here where Kiri passed by, she's on her way to picking up some more grass and stuff over here. So I mean, it depends on what biome you're in, but you can pick up random things depending on where you go. So I mean, although we're still on our torch, I should be able to find at least like 1 or 2 pieces of grass laying around. But if you don't, and you want to play it safe, I would avoid staying in these biomes, because the longer you stay in here, obviously, the more you run a chance of running out of a torch. But I'm going to show you an easy way of avoiding that if you can. Mobs will always attack each other depending on what they are. Pigs and spiders do not get along, so if they are near each other, they're always going to attack each other. You can always pick up whatever they leave behind as well too. Silk is not really useful right now, but I'll still pick it up anyways because it's on the ground, so I might as well grab it. Red mushrooms are one of the worst pieces of food in the game. They're used for filler, what gets used in a crock pot. So we won't really get that right now because it's kind of a waste of time to gather those resources. Now you might be noticing that all the things that I just highlighted in the game while shift and clicking on them, that's from a mod that I have called Action Queue Reborn. I wouldn't really focus too much on that mod right now. The only reason I'm using it is kind of just to speed up the process of picking some of these things up. But if in the future you are looking for a mod that you can click on a bunch of items at the same time, I would highly suggest getting that. If you look at this thing, it looks like a horseshoe. This is a walrus camp. That appears in wintertime, and that's what lets you get yourself an actual walking cane. So the boon that I talked about, which is found at the dead skeleton or the dead body that's in the game, what that spawns in, that is, you can get it. You can either get the walking cane from getting that, or if you kill the walrus, and you can have up to 3 walrus camps inside of your world, depending on what kind of settings you have enabled. You can get yourself a walking cane from the remains, which is you need a tusk and then you need some gold, and it's usually located on an address. I can't show it to you right now because we don't have an alchemy engine, but it will be located under that, and that helps you walk a lot faster. So we're in another biome right now, but we still can't seem to find any grass.
Thanks again for watching this video. See you in the next one.